Most people think good programming is about choosing the right exercises. It isn't. It's knowing what to prioritize, what to ignore, and when to change the plan. Today I'm going to walk you through exactly how I'm programming my own training right now for ATHX and Hyrox, and more importantly, why I'm doing it this way. I could just sit here and give you my program, but honestly, it probably wouldn't work for you. Because your weaknesses aren't my weaknesses, your life isn't my life, your recovery isn't my recovery, and your goals aren't mine. So instead of just giving you a program to copy, I want to show you how I actually think. Because if you understand how to think about your training, you'll be able to make better decisions regardless of what phase you're in and able to make actual progress towards your specific goal. I've currently got two goals, ATHX in October, Hyrox after that. And although they're both hybrid competitions, they're asking completely different questions. ATHX rewards strength, power, movement quality, and the ability to repeat that quality when you're exhausted. Hyrox rewards aerobic capacity, running economy, and the ability to resist fatigue over a sustained effort. Same athlete, different demand, and if your programming doesn't reflect that difference, you'll turn up to one of them underprepared. So every single decision I make in my training starts there. What is the event actually asking? Principle 1 is train the limiter. Now I've made this mistake myself in the past. People train what they're good at and they neglect what they're weak at. So for me, in this next couple of weeks training block, next couple of phases, I'm going to be looking to improve my strength. Beginning this year, I got married and put all of my sort of competing aspirations on the back burner, dropped a load of weight to get a little bit leaner, and as a result of that, reduced my strength. Now, strength has never really been an issue for me. It's potentially one of my strengths, but it's something I need to really redevelop if I'm going to try and compete at a good level in Hyrox this year, and also in ATHX. It has more carryover to ATHX, but it's going to improve everything I need for my Hyrox later in this part of the year around Christmas. So to do this, I'm going to get really specific with what I'm training. I'm going to allow myself to put on a little bit of body weight, not any body fat, but try and promote as much muscle mass as I physically can, targeting all of my key lifts across the week. I'm increasing my strength training to 4 sessions per week, trying to hit 2 big compound lifts in each session, so that again, across the week, my volume is going to come up. And then as a result, staying around those strength reps, 1s, 3s, 5s, I'm going to allow that adaptation to occur. I'm still going to work on my endurance, but as I'm structuring this properly so that I can come into competition ready, that endurance isn't the biggest point that I need to make right now. The biggest thing I need to do right now is build this strength, because that will take the longest. The fitness will come closer to competition, and I can really start to work in a lot more finishes and a lot more aerobic and anaerobic work, and I'll reduce the sessions of strength whilst that comes. But for the next 2 phases, roughly 6 weeks for me, I'm going to focus entirely on my strength training and get that to a point where it needs to be to allow me to compete at a good level. Principle 2, train the specific demand. In Hyrox, you never run fresh. You run a kilometre, push a sled, run another kilometre, do wall balls and run again. So why would all of your training be fresh state running? Instead of 1 8-kilometre repeats on a track, sometimes the session looks like this. Run, sled, run, carry, run burpees, because that's the actual demand. The closer your training reflects the competition, the fewer surprises you get on race day. Principle 3 is the stress bucket. Your body doesn't differentiate what stress is what. So you've got stress that's coming in from your day-to-day life, whether that's work, relationships, family, and then you've also got the stuff that's coming in from the training as a result of that. So nutrition, sleep, hydration, and your actual training load itself. So all this stuff goes into the same place. Now, if you've got loads of this coming in, you can't expect to compete like a full-time athlete. These full-time athletes are able to recover, manage their stress, manage their times to them, because that is their job. Whereas I'm like you guys, just got married this year, full-time coaching diary, and I'm trying to be an athlete as well. The reality of it is I'm not going to be able to train and recover like some of these pro athletes. So I'm not going to try. I'm going to manage my training load accordingly to what I can do, and it's going to set me up so that I can compete at my best without burning out, risking injury. So it's something to be aware of, that you don't have to train 20, 25 plus hours a week. Just do what your non-negotiable time commitments are, and you can still make progress doing that. Principle 4, know when to push and when to back off. I check my HRV every morning, check my resting heart rate, and pay attention to how my legs feel when I'm warming up. If sleep was poor, HR is elevated, and my body feels flat, I adjust. Don't scrap the session, but I might reduce the intensity, protect the quality of tomorrow's session instead of destroying it. If everything's green, sleep was good, HRV is solid, energy is high, I push. I don't just see adjusting the program as weakness, I see it as intelligent coaching. The worst athletes I've ever seen are the ones who train the same regardless of how they feel. The best ones are the ones who know when to hold back. Principle 5, how I actually build the week. So this is what my exact training week looks like at the moment. It's sort of irrelevant what I'm doing in that week, but I want to explain why I'm doing it. So on a Monday, I have a heavy lower body strength session. This is because I've had my Sunday as full recovery from the week before, which allows me to have a big central nervous stimulus. So I'm going to prioritize like a heavy focus squat and then build the rest of the session around that. And that's my primary session for the week. On a Tuesday, there's an upper body session. So again, the central nervous system is less demand than what there would be on a lower body day. And this can allow me to do, if I want to, a secondary session later in the day based off of if I'm close to competition or not. And also it has an eye on Wednesday, which is typically my highest intensity or max session of the week. I do a team session with everyone I compete with. And it's normally like really high intensity intervals, maybe some modified strongman stuff, or bits and pieces. And that's going to be really demanding, especially off of doing 3 sessions back to back. And then Thursday is always a full rest day. So I've just had that 3 heavy day stimulus. I then need a full day to rest and recover. So map this around, again, what days you prioritize your heavier, big leg sessions. Typically try not to do them back to back. And then that will allow you to recover. Again, we spoke about before in the video, how you can recover in between sessions that don't tax you too much and you can work around your day-to-day life. Friday is my second heavy lower body strength session. So again, at the moment, I'm doing another squat pattern because I want to try and build that up. Again, this is after another rest day, similar to the Monday sort of vibe, which allows me that recovery to then really push these numbers, which is the main focal point at the moment. And then again, with that focus at the moment, I then have another upper body session on the Saturday, but there is another trap bar deadlift at the moment, again, because that is my priority. So I'm allowing myself to get that 4 big days of heavy compounds in. I'm really specifically targeting those areas I want to bring up. And then I can also add in some cardio on that day, again, similar to the Tuesday, because I'm allowing that structure. I then have Sunday as another full rest day, or I'll do some low intensity zone 2 throughout the week. So again, the main point to take away from this is I'm structuring my week according to when I'm busy, when I'm not busy, and what I can recover adequately from. And then I'm prioritizing my work on for this phase as my non-negotiables as the main point. So they're in first, and then everything else is a secondary thought. When I then switch close to competition to bringing up my fitness, this will then change and probably look something reverse, where fitness comes first, and I'm just ticking the box from a strength standpoint. Principle 6, the biggest mistake I see. Most athletes mix everything every day. Heavy lifting, intervals, metcon, a long run and a class, and then just repeat that cycle. And then wonder why nothing is improving. Here's why. Fatigue feels like progress until race day proves it wasn't. A lesson from my own training this year. I went into this year carrying less strength than I wanted, a deliberate choice. I dieted down for the wedding and I was happy with it, but I knew I paid for it in training. Rebuilding has been slower than wanted, and there have been weeks where the business took over, where coaching sessions ran long, where I was just tired. The program I'm following today isn't the one that I was following 6 months ago. And it definitely won't be the same one that I'll be following 6 months from now. Because if my goals change, my strengths change, or my life circumstances change, then my training is going to have to adapt to those things as well. Good programming isn't static, it's dynamic, and it should adapt to what is the needs and wants of you at that time. That's what actually makes it work. The best programming isn't the one with the most fancy exercises. It's the one that solves your biggest problems. That's what coaching really is. I hope this gives you a better understanding of how I think as a coach, not just what I do. If you're training for Hyrox, ATHX, CrossFit, or any other hybrid competition, and you're stuck and don't know what you should be prioritizing right now, drop a comment below with hybrid or message me on Instagram, and we can go through how to structure your priorities and what your goals should be for each competition.